Hey guys, welcome back to another week of day trading where last week was a pretty boring break-even week. There were some good opportunities that I missed as I wasn't at my peak performance, but this week wasn't that much better, I'm gonna be honest. I really struggled to read price action. Even when I had a clean read, I didn't execute at the right times. So yeah, a lot more learning and adjusting so I can perform better, but yeah, let's just get into this week's setups. Alrighty boys, so starting off the week we did end up getting a fatty dump early on and we got a small push higher throughout the entire day. Coming down to the lower time frames you can see that push higher more clearly, but honestly guys I'm not really liking how price is looking. The main reason for that was because we weren't getting any accumulation. You know, I prefer taking breakouts from chopped ranges, so this price action is a little harder for me to read. So for today I am leaning more towards just not taking a setup, but I will stick around to see how price develops. We did end up getting some displacement lower early on, which did form a clean 5-minute shift, so honestly we could get a bit of a push lower if the retest and confirmation are clean, and price did provide that retest shortly after, and this was honestly looking pretty alright. A nice wick off of tapping the median of the range and the supporting level 2. I just needed a clean shift with good volume to get into the setup. And over here we look as if we were about to get that, but price just barely failed to get that clean break I was looking for, and this also ended up forming a 15-minute candle with a strong wick lower. So honestly this didn't look like anything decent until much later. But as you know, since my trading time is late at night, I did just call it here for today because I'm not gonna be around for that later. Rather just rest up and come back with a clearer head tomorrow. Overall's not a bad day though. We waited for something clearer to develop, and when it did, we stuck around to see if price would follow through with it. It didn't, but that's alright. It's just how it is with trading sometimes, and we'll just stay consistent and come back better tomorrow. Alrighty boys, so pretty bullish day from what I'm looking at right now. Market structure is just overall trending up, and we are nearing the median of this high time frame range, so perhaps we could continue higher to tap into that. And I'm especially looking at the OTE of this range as a potential area we could continue higher to. And you know, zooming down lower, we can see more of the same with price respecting the supporting level. We did just take out a prominent draw, so I do want to see how price moves from here. If we get a continuation signature, then we could look for a setup targeting the high time frame OTE, or we could just get a reversal sig, in which case it will be a similar trade idea to yesterday's. And coming into the session, we did seem to continue with more of a reversal signature as we continued lower with stronger power, and we ended up getting this decent but small push higher just prior to market open, which made me consider going for the continuation. But I also saw that we were starting to form a bit of a bearish SMT, so with that knowledge along with price wicking and getting a push lower, I did take a more intuitive setup targeting the London lows. And this trade was starting off pretty strong. We got a clean flush lower which took out some of the low resistance liquidity, though I did see that we were starting to struggle a bit at this point, which is fair. This trade is a bit small since it was going against the overall trend, but I knew from price action earlier that we would more than likely get a soup lower first before pushing higher, and price ended up confirming that as we did soup the low. Then I trailed my stop aggressively here because of the lower probability, and unfortunately price did get a pump higher which took out the trade at break even. I'm pretty happy with the setup today though, one of the more intuitive setups that I've taken in a minute, and the trade did run pretty well. It's a shame that we didn't get the power to sweep on the London lows, though this is something that I should have expected in the first place. Perhaps I could have waited for the sweep before going for a clean trade higher, and honestly that's what I should have done. This trade was much more clean and did run to hit the target, but that's right, we learn more and more every single day. Now I'll just keep on working on my reads so that they'll be more precise. Okay, so looking at price currently, we do seem to be a bit weird. Like, we had a slow push lower throughout the entire day, creating some liquidity above, and we didn't take out any draws, but the strong push lower was a wick on the 4 hour, so this could show some intention to move higher. And we do have a 4 hour gap above which is still unfilled, and that could provide us a clean target to go for. And the low time frame was aligning pretty well with that too, as we are currently respecting this 15-minute order block. I do want to see a strong pullback lower to tap the median of the range though, so this setup would be higher probability, and if we did tap that and get a shift higher, I would be pretty happy to go for the longs up to that unfilled gap. And coming into the session, we did end up getting a nice retest higher into this 5-minute support level above, and I did have an idea to go for a smaller short down to the OTE of the range since we still needed to see that retest and we were stalling a little bit here. This did seem like a pretty good idea, though price didn't provide a clear enough shift for me to get into the setup before we started running. Luckily for me though, price ended up getting this massive pump higher after tapping the median, which ended up forming strongly to the buy side. So from here I was just waiting to see the reaction from price pulling back here, and we did find a nice bounce here which was really clean, and honestly, I was thinking of taking this setup here since the volume behind this candle was pretty good too, but I did get put off from taking this since I wanted to see a clear shift higher. And from that, I did stop trading here today, and the reason for that was because the pip sizing was so massive, and I couldn't even risk one micro without it being over what I'm comfortable with by like $100. So regardless, this wasn't something that I could take. And had I gone for this initial entry after price had clean push from the OTE, I could have bagged a cleaner 1-to-1. So this is where the confidence in my ability could have helped, and this is something that I definitely could have taken. So it was just my bad regardless. It's all good though. There'll be more setups in the future, and they'll be clearer than this one as well. We'll just improve and do better for tomorrow. Alright boys, coming into Thursday, we did seem to be pretty conflicted on the high time frame as we were retesting into this 4-hour order block with an overall bearish trend. We are getting a pullback right now with some really strong signs for longs like this 1-hour wick, so perhaps we could lean more towards that as that was more in the moment. But coming into the low time frame, we were again conflicted as well. There is this prominent soup here. We are also retesting a 15-minute gap as well, so I do want to wait to see how price develops. And coming into the session, we did have a pretty good retest into the OTE of the 15-minute range, though I really don't think this pullback was enough yet, especially with those other factors like the high time frame soup being in play. And market open did give price another decent push lower, which I did realize also formed a 5-minute support level, which we retested pretty cleanly. And the 1 minute was getting some displacement at this point, and I was really considering taking the setup. And when price retested weekly and then started getting some sell pressure again, I took the setup there, going for a quick continuation move down to the London lows. And this trade, I was immediately regretting the choice. Thinking it through during the short time I was in the trade, I was going for a move that I was less probable to win according to my backtesting, as continuations for me are the best, and I really shouldn't have hopped in while price was starting to just get a little push lower, because like I said, price action was a little bit conflicted and I did want to see a little bit more before I made my decision. So this trade was not A+, and I did luckily get this trade out at break even, which was lucky me. Honestly, I don't know how I was able to get away with it, because to be fair, I should have been punished for going for a move like this. I was in the right conditions and it wasn't the right timing to take a setup either, and you can see price action was really cooked after. So yeah, gotta avoid these types of days in the future, especially when price action is as hard to read as today's. Alright boys, so looking at Friday, I didn't get to trade Friday because I had work early in the morning, so because of that, I didn't end up trading today. I slept early. Well, coming into the session, high time frame, we did seem a little bit bullish with this trend here, but we did have a super high on the hourly. 4-hour also had the same, so we had the supporting bearish balance. Looking down on the lower time frame, we did get a shift lower on the 15-minute, and then we did retest this gap here to confirm the down move even further down to the Asia lows. We had a little bit of a buy up during market open, but we got a strong shift lower, and then this formed another 5-minute shift, and then the 1 minute actually ended up retesting this imbalance, which I wouldn't have expected this, to be honest. But yeah, we retested and then we ended up getting a shift lower, and then this shift with volume is already a pretty clean setup to go for, going down to the lows, and that would have been a clean 1-to-1. So I could have gone for this. Yeah, this is around macro, so it would have been like a perfect time to trade. It might have been a little bit harder for me to see this because I wouldn't have expected the retest, so I would have expected price to just take out this low from the flush lower here, but I think it's pretty solid regardless. So yeah, it's a little unfortunate we didn't get to trade this, but yeah, it's alright. Happens sometimes. There'll be more setups in the future. This isn't going to be the only one, so yeah, just gotta be patient for future opportunities. Alright, that's gonna wrap up this week. I think it was a pretty alright week. A little unfortunate that I couldn't trade on Friday because of work, but life does get in the way sometimes, and there's nothing I can really do about it if I want to keep maintaining a good mental. I've been pretty consistent with things that'll bring me closer to my goals, like backtesting and reflection, as well as working out for health. So those things I'm really happy with. For the trades recently, I don't think I'm doing the best that I can, because when I look back, there are some days where a trade would have been possible. So even with a slower market, there are still opportunities to capitalize on, and I need to be patient and keep an eye out for those. But yeah guys, just more of the same. It's pretty boring, but I find that's just how trading is. I just gotta keep being consistent and keep grinding away at it, and yeah, I'm gonna leave the week off there. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace.